Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you all are fine, enjoying your life. So guys, today we are going to do something interesting. Like we are going to discuss on a particular topic. We have one of the co-learners with us, and his name is Naman Gupta. Undoubtedly, he is one of the brilliant speaker. So let us move to our spoken English topic. You can say the topic is related to cinema. So guys, without wasting a further, let us start the discussion. So I have certain questions with me that I am going to ask Naman, and he has certain questions with himself so that he will ask to me. So my first question to Naman is, what is more important, good actors or a good story? So according to you, Naman, what is more important, good actors or a good story?
So Shivani, according to me, uh, good story can make a big difference in the movie as well as good actors also. For example, if we can take an average story or a mediocre story, then the star cast or I'm not going to include the word star. The cast, the perfect cast and the perfect acting can make a mediocre or a normal story into an masterpiece. For example, if we can take the example of Whisper of Elephant, that is an Oscar nominated movie. So in that movie the story is simple. It's basically belong to a village area, but the actors, the role played by them make that movie so much interesting or so much classical that it was nominated in the Oscars. So that's all my perspective on that. So Shivani, on this note, I want to ask you one question: that what is your favorite genre of film?
So now, if I want to answer this question, my favorite genre of film is undoubtedly thriller and suspense. Comedy also. Sometimes I enjoy comedies. Along with that, I also enjoy horror movies. Like last time, recently I watched Conjuring. A lot of people had this skepticism about that movie, that that movie was kind of horror. But when I saw that movie, when I watched it, I realized that it was kinda, you can say, horror, but not that much. So yeah, my favorite genre of movie is not just one; it is many one, such as horror, comedy, and suspense and thriller. So I would like to ask you, Naman, may I know, is it still worth watching black and white films?
Yeah, Shivani. Like watching black and white films is like traveling back in time and living that era when there were no colors in the movies, but there were more colors in the life. And now in the present scenario, it's like there are more colors in the films in the on the screen, but there are less color in the life. So watching the black and white films is totally worth it. For example, if I talk about the films like in the Bollywood, there were Kagas Ke Phool, and and there were many more movies. I can't recall those names, but yeah. And obviously, if I'm talking about the Hollywood, then Gone with the Wind, or I can say that the 1960s, 1970s movies were really good, and they are kind of hitting the nerves whenever you are watching them. So they hit, so they hit you at the right spot. So it's my personal it's my personal favorite choice to watch black and white movies once in a week, so that I can travel back and forth in the time. So Shivani, my next question will be: are 21st century films really better than 20th century ones?
So according to me, Norman, to be honest with you, I believe that yeah, 21st century films are better than 20th century or 20th century ones. Is but having said that, I would like to explain it. Like 20th century's movie, like if I talk about 90th. The 90s movies such as DDLJ and Pardes and Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, if I talk about the Bollywood ones only. So those were the movies which were having, you can say, some meaningful stories in that, and some, like, the cast were also totally, or you can say, deeply connected with that film. It has they had perfect stories, perfect lines, perfect songs. But if I talk about like in 21st century, they have movies, like the director has movies, but if I talk about their music, a kind of only item songs are there and some pop-up music. A lot of like earlier the soothing voice was there, but now it has completely changed. And I prefer like nowadays even stories, the movie has no stories in it. They are like you can watch them once in a while or like for once only, but you cannot watch them again and again and over and over and over. So I still prefer that watching 20th century is kind of better than watching 20th to 21st centuries of movie. What do you think, guys? Let me know in the comment section according to your perspective. So Naman, my question is to you: is it better to watch a film at home or at the cinema?
Like Shivani, that's a really contradictory question because if I have given the biased answer, then movie lovers who love to watch the movie at home will going to shoot me, and the movie lovers who are really crazy to watch the movies in the cinema will find me and just force me to watch the movies in the cinema because like they it completely depends on the mood and on the moment. For example, if I'm talking about the mass movies, the movies which came with so many mass scenes and you can say the music with the high bass, we should watch them, and definitely we should watch them into the theaters. For example, if I'm talking about the KGF, that has came from the south industry, and it was a super hit. So my personal choice was that we have to watch it into the cinema because the music, because whenever you are watching a movie in the hall or in the cinema, you can feel the music, the musical notes hit you. For example, if I'm talking about the Hollywood movie Dune, part 1 and part 2, both the parts should be watched in the theaters because the tone and the music of the movie was completely felt by our nerves. And if I'm talking about the movies that you should watch at home, like they are kind of the movies which which you can find relatable, like in the Bollywood there were many movies like Makbul is there, and Masan is there, and there were many more. For example, Delhi 6 movie is there, Black Friday is there. So these are kind of movies you should watch at home, or you can watch at home, but definitely you should go with watching the movies in cinema. So Shivani, my next question for you is: should a historical film be historically accurate?
Yeah, it should be historically accurate. If I talk about any kind of historical movie, such as like Padmavat or Bajirao Mastani, if the director has narrated the story in completely different manner, then maybe that movie would not have gained the same popularity as that movie gained. Like, and if I talk about that Ayodhya movie, no, actually, it was Adi Purush. Like in that movie, you can. I don't know whether you have seen that movie or not. Like even I hadn't watched it, but I got some comments, or you can say some reviews related to that movie, that in that movie the director has completely changed not just the story, even the dialogues, even the names of that particular character. Like he had changed the whole character of Ravana, he had changed the whole character of Rama. So this is how we should not narrate a story, or we should not make a film which is historical. That historical movie should be or must be historically accurate, if because they have a story in it, they have a particular meaningful thing in that movie, in that. So we can't change them. If you will change, if you will even try to change them, maybe it can lead to a misconception in the Gen Z's, not in just the Gen Z's, but whosoever is going to watch that movie. So it should be, it must be historically accurate if you are talking about historical films. So on this note, may I know, Naman, your perspective, what is the greatest film you have ever seen?
Shivani, if I'm going to answer that question, that means it should not be justifiable if I can go with one movie. But yeah, this Japanese anime movie. Actually, I have gone through a lot of genres and a lot of industries. So if I am going to rate my three best movies, then one of them will be Kimina Nova. That is Your Name. It was a Japanese anime movie in which is completely based on the like time lapse theory. Like these two like these two character were there, and they both travel back and forth into each other's body. Their souls switched their bodies. So these two characters were there, and yeah, it was a good movie. And if I'm talking about the Hollywood, then there are two movies which I would like to rate over here. The first one is the Fight Club, which is of Brad Pitt, and the second one is the Pulp Fiction, which is a kind of movie contain 4 to 5 stories, and all the stories came to an end at the end of the movie. So these are kind of the movies which I would like to share. So Shivani, on this note, I would like to ask you a really funny and a clumsy question. That can you think of a film which made you cry?
Yeah, of course, Naman. I would love to answer this question because I just usually watch Bollywood movies over Hollywood ones. So if I talk about Bollywood ones, there are and not n number. Actually, there are few movies which made me cry. And if I name one of them, then the example is Sanam Teri Kasam. I don't know whether how will you think about me or what you are going to think about me. What's your perspective? But to be honest with you guys, yeah, this movie has something in it that it made me not just cry but emotional, sentimental at the same time, because that movie had a particular story, like the way the girl father, the actress father, treated her in the entire movie without even, like, she was not at fault, but still her father treated her so badly, like he did each and every ritual to kill to kill his own daughter. So it was not a horrendous, not just horrendous part, but it was such a sentimental part for me. So that particular scene made me cry in that movie. And at the end of, we all know, the heroine died, so the actress died. That was the I would say the shocking part of that particular movie. So yeah, that was the only one movie, not only, like, yeah, that was the particular movie which made me cry. So on this note, may I know, Naman, what is the scariest movie you have ever seen?
So Shivani, if I talk about the scariest one, so I want to give a very clumsy answer but a very relatable answer to those who grew up in the 90s. There was this movie called Makdi in the Bollywood, and I think it was and I think it was casted as Shabana Azmi. Like Shabana Azmi was there in the movie, and it was a kind of the horror, like the, I would like to say that one of the most horror movie I have watched in my childhood. Like after that, you all can handle the horror, but I think that in the childhood, the horror of that movie, like watching Shabana Azmi in the role and watching Makdi by yourself. And I still remember the song, like ungli daba ke angutha bana दूंगी टाउ टाउ. So Papad Wali song was there, and it was a really really good movie, and one of the scariest movie I have ever seen. So Shivani, on this note, I so Shivani, may I ask, like, in your terms of perspective, who is the greatest director in history? Okay, to be honest with you, Naman, actually, I don't know the best or the greatest director in history, because I can only give you an answer in Bollywood terms only, like, because I usually, as I have told you earlier, that I sometimes just watch Bollywood movies only. So, according to me, in Bollywood, I'm not talking about all of us. According to me, the best director, the greatest director all the time is Sanjay Leela Bhansali, undoubtedly, because he had made so many movies that are not just, I would say, the national award winners, but also he, whenever he comes on the screen, he comes with a magic. He always has, you can say, a scenario in his mind which is larger than the life. Like if I talk about his movies such as Padmavat and Gangubai, which has won the national award. Like because of this particular movie, Alia won the national award and she won the Best Actress award as well. So undoubtedly and completely, Sanjay Leela Bhansali is one of the finest director in Bollywood industry, and there are so many, but Sanjay Leela Bhansali is one of the best, I would say. So on this note, may I know, Naman, how important is a good director to a film? Shivani, so Shivani, Best directors are like the captains of a team. Like if the team is performing average, then the best captain can turn that average performance into a masterclass performance. So if I'm talking about the role of a director, so it matters a lot because director gives you the direction, and the direction in a movie is quite necessary. Let me take you an example of the Bollywood classic movies Gangs of Wasipur. In that movie, the role of director was quite, you can say, it was very pinpoint role of the director because every scene and every story framing of the movie is really good. Because like while creating the movie, many people play their role like screen recorder, screenwriter, dialogue writer, and the one who is designing the music, the background music, the BGM, and the actresses. But the director collects all of them and put them into a shape which we call the film. So like the role of a director is like he's giving the shape to something that we can't just imagine. If I take another example, then so another example is the Pulp Fiction. In that movie, also the role of director is really good because combining five stories and ending them into a single point and connecting them all together is quite a role of a master person. So I would like to say that it's really a good role of a director. So Shivani, on the final note, I would like to ask you another question, which I was very curious to ask. That do you prefer watching foreign films with dubbing or the subtitles?
So, frankly speaking, Naman, I sometimes prefer watching foreign movie films with dubbing subtitles because we know this. Because for us, like for me, British accent is kind of hard to replicate or to understand. So whenever I watch Hollywood movies, such as if I talk about Harry Potter, recently I watched that. So if I would have watched it in like completely without subtitles, maybe I wouldn't able to understand it completely. So I watched it with subtitles, and yeah, I don't prefer dubbing because it not just seems good to me, but I yeah sometimes I prefer watching movie with the subtitles. It not just give me the clear picture about the movie, but also I can learn something out of it, and that can be add up into my vocabulary list, and that can create a meaningful impact on my personality. So yeah, I usually prefer. May I know what's your perspective, Naman? Do you watch movies with dubbing or subtitles?
Uh, yeah, Shivani, on this final note, before we wrap up this call, so Shivani, yeah, you are absolutely correct that like watching a dub. So yeah, like dub movies are kind of they kind of became out of context, and we have to watch the movies only with the subtitles so that it can be helpful and it can keep their natural persona. So Shivani, on this note, I would like to ask you another question: that what should be the ideal length of the movie?
So, according to my perspective, the ideal length of a movie can be 2 hours, can be 2.5, or sometimes it can goes up to 3 hours, but not more than that. But because if the movie goes up to more than 3 hours, maybe it may look boring, and it may create a monotonous thing in our mind also. It may sound like, oh my god, this movie is so tedious, how can we going to watch it, like it's more than 3 hours. We usually keep this thing in our mind whenever we go in theater, whenever we watch a movie in homes, like we this movie is just for 2.5 hours, so that we can spend our leisure time, or we can you can say pass our time in a funnier manner. So yeah, according to me, maybe 2 and 2.5 and 3 hours is the most sufficient ideal length or ideal duration for a movie. So may I know, according to you, Naman, do you think the Oscar-winning films are the best films?
Actually, Shivani, Oscar-winning films. So yeah, Shivani, the Oscar-winning movies are kind of the movies which you can say that they are kind of masterpiece and they are kind of master stroke that we have seen like once in a while or once in a blue moon. And obviously, like it is a kind of question that everybody would love to hear about that. For example, if I talk about the Titanic film, That was a movie in 1997, winning an Oscar movie, tying records by receiving 14 nomination and winning 11 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. So I must say that Oscar winning movies are kind of movies you should watch. They are the best or the worst, that doesn't matter. You should watch the movies which really make up to that platform, because you know Oscars are kind of the judged platform where movies are really tested by the best judges. So you should watch them, you should give them a try. And obviously, like, best movies completely depend on your mood, completely depend on the moment. I would like to repeat that thing again, because many people would love to many people would love to watch the like Back to the Future movie. That is also a kind of a movie which you should love to watch. But Titanic, it's a kind of a journey, it's a kind of an experience. So it's a kind of experience, so you should go with the Oscar nominated and Oscar winning movies. So I would like to so so that's all from my side, Shivani.
Okay, guys. So how can you hold a conversation you have seen in discussion in our conversational session? So I just hope that you have enjoyed this session so far. If you have enjoyed this session, if you have learned something meaningful out of this, guys, then please do hit the like button, share it, and subscribe to your own YouTube channel, guys. I'm just requesting you, because we are also a learner just like all of you, and we are not a pro one. We are not on our intermediate level, not on advanced one. We are just a beginner. You can consider both of us, or you can say all of us in. So we are just a beginner. So guys, if you found out this conversation was quite helpful for you, if you have enjoyed the session so far, then please watch it till the end, and I'll see you with another one just like this one. Till then, take care, guys. Bye bye.